Hello and welcome to a long overdue, long awaited episode of Real Riffs. This is Sean Gaillard with my sister and my bandmate Donya Ball. This is the fourth riff, sister. This is
I
it.
missed you. I
I miss
missed
you
you.
too. I know.
We had a long break,
We
and
did.
it was a great break because we had some time, right, to kind of evaluate, decompress, whatnot. And I was so excited for us to reunite, for the
Yeah.
band to get back together so that we can engage in what we love to do the most, which is to riff.
Riff on the juicy, riff on the real, riff on all of it in a way that is safe. It's belonging. But no, I've missed you too. It's like we're back from summer vacation. We're in line for the copy machine, and it's like, hey, what did you do? Where did you go? And
Exactly. And
yeah,
by the way, everyone, Sean and I never text each other and say like, "Hey, what's your riff wardrobe for this jam sesh?" We just show up and are like in sync, and it feels like we're like on stage a little bit here because we got the black, we got the matching backgrounds, and like we got the synergy.
yeah. No,
I
no,
love it.
seriously, like we did not we this may
Never,
have been the second or third time that this has happened where
always.
it's
Hmm.
just color coordinated. There is a 3 hour time difference between us. We are, a few thousand miles away. We have not spoken until just before we pressed record.
Yep. And so here's the deal with this episode is
Yeah.
that typically, right, we designed this entire concept around you all, where we take your leadership requests, your juicy topics, and Sean and I jam, we riff. And because we are reuniting for the first time after, a good several months, we decided to take things into a slightly different direction in that we're absolutely still authentically riffing, jamming,
Yeah.
but instead of taking topics, your request, which we will come back to absolutely for episode 5, we just decided to roll, hit record
Mm.
and roll.
Yeah.
And I want to kick things off because this topic has been something that's been circulating
Mm.
around a friend group. And it's a hot topic. And it absolutely relates, Sean, to leadership, personal life, professional life, you name it. And here's the topic just to kick us off: holding a grudge. Holding a grudge. Yeah, you're like, Donya, I didn't realize we were going to go there. But I was like, you know what? This topic has been circulating in another friend group, and there's a diverse perspectives on this,
Hmm.
right?
Mm.
Because we're human. And when we think about human centered leadership, it's not necessarily perfect
Yeah.
centered leadership,
No, it's not. Not
right?
at all.
Not at all. And
Wow.
people do us wrong. People hurt us.
Yes, they do.
People attack us. We often feel hurt by what other people
Mm.
have done, right? And oftentimes I will hear leaders and people say, well, if you do me wrong, I'm done with you.
Mm.
And I can't help it, but it's just the way that I am. And that holding a grudge, right,
Hmm.
becomes like the forefront of stress, of anxiety, of mindset, and ultimately a joy sucker, a happiness sucker. So, what's your thoughts about this, Sean? Grudge holding. Let's go there.
Donya, wow. My jaw is on the floor because
this
that,
was not rehearsed, or there was no forewarning or appetizer, anyone, about me saying, hey, Sean, let's talk about this. This is live, raw stuff.
Yes. So it's interesting that you should bring this up because Grudge. All right. There is a thing called professional hurt, and there's a thing called personal hurt, and there are things and sometimes those lines get blurred and they cross over, and it's a whole thing. And actually, I will say, personally and professionally, it's something I'm still working through and have been working through for the better part about 2 years. And it's easy for me to say hurt people. We can quote Mel Robbins and let them, and then we can quote the Frozen song "Let It Go," and we can pat ourselves on the back in this podcast and say all of the right things. But there are people listening and viewing who are hurting right now. You and I, not with each other, but you and I have experienced or are experiencing hurt in some way. So it's real and it's raw, and there are people, in my career that have hurt me, that have wronged me, and validated that wrong and hurt, when others have said, man, you really got screwed over, or you got passed over, or you got
effed, is what guys will say. You really got effed in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because I talk with my therapist somewhat similar about this several sessions ago, because that's the other thing too, leaders. Sometimes that hurt and that pain, and there's nothing wrong with it, can lead you to seek therapy, which I've done, and I'm very, very open about that. So I think how I work through it, and I'm still working through it, okay, is one, we have to make sure that the job, the title, does not define us. The title, the gig, even though you put your heart, your soul, your blood, your sweat, your tears, your guts into the gig, right? And you invest yourself. We cannot let it define us, because when we do, the moment we do that, and I am guilty of this, this has happened to me, then we lose sight of who we are and what matters the most. So yeah, you are going to feel raw nerve endings and hurt as a leader when you have invested and put yourself out there in the arena, when you have put yourself out there in the squared circle, when you have put your reputation, your resume, all of those things
all on the line.
You're in the crosshairs, okay? But when we shift, and it's hard, y'all, it's hard, Donya, when we shift away from the title and who we truly are and what we matter to people, whether it's mother, father, uncle, brother, sister, daughter of God, son of God, once we make that flip, it doesn't hurt as much. Or when those things happen, because hurt is inevitable. Professional hurt is inevitable. And there are people out there, unfortunately, who are bastards, who are assholes, who are going to F you over for whatever reason. And it's okay to feel that hurt. It's okay to feel that pain, but you can't let the pain define you. You can't let the pain stifle you. You can't let that hurt fester, where when you walk by their office or you drive by their building and you stick that middle finger discreetly. you,
Totally.
you can't do that. Ultimately, that hurt happened for a reason. And that hurt is an opportunity, yes, to feel it, to feel the suck, but then also, all right, what do I need to recalibrate? How do I need to respond? What do I need to rethink? Perhaps that hurt, that F over is the catalyst for something greater and better.
Absolutely. I love that. And where I want to add to this is that, brother, here's the problem in my mind with the actual grudge piece. Okay. Because what you brought up to the surface is we absolutely need to get into our feelings, feel it, validate it, affirm it. Okay. Where I think this becomes problematic is, yes, when that becomes our identity, and two, when the grudge affects us so much, it actually doesn't affect the other person.
Yeah. Oh, excellent point. Excellent
Right?
point.
And so, like, the person that wronged us, we're like, hell with you. It's over. I'm going to hold a grudge and I'm going to let this impact me and whatever. And then you see them walk by their office, see them in the community, whatever. They're not affected by your grudge.
No,
You don't give two flying F's about your grudge.
that's right.
And so, what actually ends up happening is your grudge, which you're thinking, I'm gonna let you have it, right? And you're not worth my time, whatever. It impacts you more long term than it actually does them. And
Yes.
so I'm like, why are we giving them that much power over us?
Yeah, man.
Why are we? And so, there was a moment years ago, and it really was a catalyst for me, right, to even go off and to write my first book, where I was, in my opinion, right, because there's always perspective. In my opinion, I was wronged. I was hurt. And I remember seeing this person out in his role, whatever, beyond now even the district, and he was respected and loved, and and I'm like, and people would be like, well, how can you get over it so easy? Well, number one, I don't think I ever got over it, which goes back to your point. Like, you can still get pissed,
Yeah.
right, about the situation and validate, like, that effing sucked. But me, like, continuing to bash him or her or whoever, right, is not ultimately, number one, helping me, but also they don't care.
Yeah.
So why?
Yes.
The other part of this is that we know that the majority of our joy and happiness we control, right? We choose despite the circumstances. And so if we choose to be pissed off on what someone did to us,
Yeah.
then we choose unhappiness long term. And that's where, like, this whole holding a grudge thing, I feel like it could be a very short-sighted personal and professional thing, where it's like, yeah, let them and let it go, but ultimately, like, do we want to sabotage our long-term happiness for this BS that was over with years ago? I don't
Yes.
know. Just something Just something that I've just been thinking about as I've been talking to some people who are like, look at you wrong me and you're dead to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can subscribe to like you no longer want to have a relationship with them. But when it comes to the point where it's actually like impacting you and it continues to come up, it is impacting you. That's how I know it impacts you is it continues to be part of conversation, right? F that person.
Yeah, that's it. But you're so true because it actually remind me. I don't know if you've seen the show The Bear. It's a wonderful show
I
about.
haven't.
Oh, it's amazing. It's won several Emmys and not to get too fanboy about it, but there is a scene where the main character, who is a this world renowned chef, meets um, basically is reunited with a former boss who was so toxic and did a number on him. And he has the chef has like post traumatic stress and nightmares. So anyway, they reunite at this event, and the protagonist says, you ruined my life. You did X, Y, and Z to me. He confronts him. He says, do you understand what you did to me? Do you understand how you hurt me and how you effed me over? And the guy nonchalantly basically says, I don't think about you. And,
That's it.
and then,
That's
just,
it.
and then just walks away or something to that point, like, so, or
That is it.
I don't think
That is
about you.
it.
I don't know.
No,
I don't care. And you're just left stunned. And but you're so right. Is like we personalize these things and we get and my God, some of it too is ego. At least for me, like doesn't the world owes me, and don't they know that this person was evil and I was good and I worked hard and I did
totally.
this and this,
Totally.
and doesn't the world see this? Don't you see this? And sometimes the other thing that I will do, and my wife picks up on this. You might even pick up on this. Is people know when I'm in my feelings about professional hurt. I'm a
Oh, for
horrible.
sure. I can
People,
tell. I
you can
can
tell.
tell based on like language in your posts.
Yes.
Sometimes I'll be like, oh, brother Sean's not feeling too good. Something's going on. I think that
Yeah.
there's some hurt there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
And I'll write and I'll post and I'll think, okay, there, I've done it. I fixed them, and that
They're
person's not.
not even reading,
They don't
probably.
even know that I'm alive on LinkedIn, right? And it's the same thing in the gig, in the daily gig of leadership. The daily grind is, yeah, you may have had one bad meeting, you know, but you've never seen that person again, or that person interrupted you, and or they, but the beat goes on. They're not thinking about you now. Again, not to unvalidate the feelings, because the thing with leadership, and this is the thing that they don't teach you in leadership
Never. This is
is,
not in leadership
yeah,
school, which is
leadership
why
sucks.
I love that we're
Leadership
riffing
hurts.
about
Yeah,
it. Exactly.
people hurt, and you are, and what sucks is it's public, or there, it may not be public. It may have been something behind closed doors, but people know. People.
Yeah, and it kind of drives me crazy when people use the excuse, and this is why, is because my dad is from a different country and we are like, all very diverse in the United States, right? But I'll hear people be like, "Well, you can't change this about me because in my culture we just hold grudges." Or we just like you're just dead like in our culture. And in my mind I'm like, really? Like come on. Like we are evolving human beings every day, every year. And so to say out front, I'll never change.
Yeah.
I'll never change because in my culture this is just how we are. I'm like, I have very little tolerance for that, Sean, only because you and I don't have the luxury in our world
No.
to not become better,
Right.
to not improve, to not think long term, right? And so when I come across that, whether it's in personal realm or professional realm, although I may not say to the person, like, cut that out in my mind, I'm thinking, like, that is such a short sighted, immature, like low growth mindset is take me or leave me, right? Because at the end of the day, like if we're not trying to at least acknowledge that I have some gaps
Yes.
in my BS, like I do. I am the most impatient person ever. It drives my husband crazy. I lose my stuff everywhere, Sean. No joke, in Arizona, I left. Okay, check this out. Here's my phone. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I went to Arizona with a different phone cover. It was a phone case with my license and my credit cards. I fly home in a rush, right?
Yeah.
I get to the security to the ticket and I do not have my phone cover. No license, no credit cards.
Oh
Thank
no.
goodness I have my passport. I travel with my passport. So I got on the plane. I left my life basically at the hotel. They call me and they're like, "Yeah, we're going to mail it to you, whatever." But my lack of patience to slow down, to be present, to check my surroundings, because
Mhm.
I'm just like, whoo, 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 whoo. I lose my shit everywhere. My glasses, my cell phone, my this, my that. And my husband moves like a sloth, in my opinion. Kim Strobel and I, we've talked about this, right? We're like looking at them and we're like, move, move, light a fire, light a fire. But this is a major deficiency
Mhm.
in myself that I recognize,
Mhm.
that I need to freaking slow down and
Mhm.
I need to figure out, I have to be really mindful how to not only slow down, but not freak other people out along the way with my inability to like truly like do what we're doing right now,
Yeah.
which is connect. Because when you're impatient, when you're on the fast track, when you're on, borrowed time,
Mhm.
you're not actually really present
No.
with the human connection. And I got to work on that.
It's no, I appreciate that, and I'm a slow guy. I'm that sloth guy too. I drive my wife crazy, but I will say that when
But
I
we also admire it.
yes, when I travel though, I'm with you. Like I will. I've never left anything behind in a hotel, but I'm almost like very OCD. Like, okay, I've got to have this here. This has got to be here because you're not in your usual surroundings. So I get that, but you bring up a good point about connection because I think that's one salve. That's one way to get through the hurt is sometimes at least for me that hurt I it's like I wrap myself up in a big ball, right? And I insulate myself and I forget that I am connected to a lot of good things. I'm connected to a lot of good people. There are people that are out there that validate me. It may not be tens of thousands, but at the end of the day, I know that I can pick up the phone, I can call you, I can call so many people that I know that I matter to and know me beyond the title, know me as Sean. And so what I would say for those folks that are tuning in, because I kind of preluded all of this with defining myself by the title, is connect with those folks, be present with those folks who don't know you as Superintendent Ball or Principal Gaillard or Dr. Ball or Mr. Gaillard
Exactly.
or what have you. Connect with those people who know you, your childhood nickname,
For
or
you.
your family name, or you know, connect with those folks. That helps you get through the hurt, I think.
So, something that I said recently, that there was like crickets in this particular room that I said this. And sometimes when that happens, I'm like, oh crap, did I just offend the F out of someone here? But then I recognize that people are quiet because they're like reflecting. And that can
Right.
be a really good thing. But one thing that I remember bringing to the surface is that when you are so absorbed in the title
Yeah.
of whatever, superintendent, director, whatever, you cannot be surprised when you've lost connection to the people that you're leading.
Damn right.
Because they may respect the title, but who they follow is the person, is the mom, is
Yeah.
the friend, the human relation. They're not following the title alone.
Yes.
So it backfires on us when we lose ourselves, when we become so self-absorbed in the title.
Yeah, man.
We can't wonder why the people that we're serving have now lost their connection to us.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think that's true, but I would also think too, there are people out there who do follow you for the title, and 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 not
You're
that,
right.
and I don't
You're
think
right.
that's not a good thing.
I understand what you're saying by that.
And they'll say, well, you're the principal, you should do da 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 da. You're the superintendent. Why don't you? And no, I'm Sean and I happen to be the principal, or I'm Donya and I happen to be the superintendent, or what have you. But you're 100% right. If you get so immersed in the title, you gosh, there are people that have invested their loyalty and more importantly their trust in you, the person who happens to have the title, in you, the person who is the leader, and you have the qualities and the characteristics that align with the mission, vision, and purpose of the team, the organization, the band, the schoolhouse, the district, whatever it may be. And sometimes that doesn't happen as organically as we want it to happen. So we've got to be intentional with our communication. We have to be intentional with our listening. We have to be intentional with connection.
I love that. I love that. There was a gentleman that asked me recently, he was like, why is your company name your name and not like something leadership? Or like, you know, a creative name about the work that we do, right?
Right.
And the reason that it reminded me of this is exactly what you and I are talking about, is that, yeah, my work is leadership. But at the end of the day, what I am marketing or sharing is Donya Ball, the human. So that's my company, is Donya. Donya Ball, LLC. Dr. Ball, LLC. The human. Yeah, I happen to talk about leadership. I happen to talk about the challenges, the struggles, the how to work through crazy leadership problems.
Mm-hmm.
But in 10 years, Maybe I'm going to be a travel agent. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, probably not, but I love traveling. And so humans evolve.
Yeah.
And either way, I'm just going to connect the heck with people. And I don't want to change the name at that point. I'm just me.
And I will.
We're just going all over the place today,
I
brother.
love this. I love this because when let's say the bottom falls out on said LLC, or you don't get the promotion, or what have you. At the end of the day, I mean, your company isn't called, superintendent leadership. Your company isn't even called, your book, setting, adjusting the sales. Like it's none of that, because things change. Change is that constant. But at the end of the day, you're still Donya Ball. And
No matter what,
yeah,
human centered.
yes, yes. And again, that's the danger of titles. I mean, that happened to me. I was in a situation, this, where I had been principal for 16 years. Now, I will say this: there is something to be said about being in the gig too long.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Oh, for
I was a
sure. I
principal
agree.
way too long, and it took a toll on my health. It took a toll on my family. It took a toll on me, and it 16 years, y'all, is too long. 5 years, that's it, and then find something else, or what have you. But that's a whole other episode.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that.
but when I had to make the move to choose between my mental health, my physical health, most importantly my family, and to walk away from the principalship and to go into another role or back to being an assistant principal, let me tell you, that did a number on me, because for so long I had defined myself as principal. And so I'm still relearning, what it means to be Sean the father, Sean the brother, Sean the husband, Sean the son of God, all of those things. And now thankfully I've got a lot of emotional support. I've got my health, I'm working out and those things, but it's why we have to be so careful with preserving our humanity. Preserve your humanity, not the title. The title is ephemeral.
Yeah. It's really a tricky thing, because when you're good, when you're really good, and I'm thinking of, like, the president of a company or the CEO, right? And the profits are good. People love the team, right? But I'm thinking about stories when, either they're bought out, or, they're let, there's a merger, or, ultimately things go south and they are forced into retirement or whatever. And I read these stories about, like, trying to vacation and they don't know how to vacation.
Yeah.
They don't know how to sit by their pool. They don't know how to, but yet they have a mansion with 12 pools, but
Yes.
they don't know how, because their life has been wrapped up in the title of president of, CEO of, and then where is the love of the actual, now the next phase?
Mm. That happens a lot with retire, and I'm sure you went through a similar gig when you left the superintendency. And I mean, or did
There is some grieving, 100%. There is some grieving. And that, I think, is like a very healthy thing, because it's the love of the job,
you?
right?
Mhm.
And your purpose, you're grieving kind of your purpose, and you're questioning, like, now what's my purpose and whatever. But then when you then redefine and you move forward with the mission, and the mission is still the passion, the purpose is still aligned to your true north, that grieving then transforms into, okay, we're rolling, we're in a
Yeah.
new rhythm, right? And I think that that is like such a healthy way. But I think that when you just stop sudden, like put the brakes on sudden and hit the wall, and there is not another, like I had the professorship, right? And coaching new and aspiring leaders that were enrolling into the
Mhm.
program, like the love of it was all there. And so I was like,
Yep.
okay, I am grieving the past, but at the same time I'm excited about now this.
And if you know, and then the other thing too is you've gone through, you know, the gig, the superintendent gig, and the leadership gig, you know, had a severe impact on your family. Like you dealt with some stuff. So I think those seasons in the valley prepared you for that transition. The other thing that I think you and I do a lot, which I like about us and admire about you, is we both use social media almost like an accountability partner for our own humanity and for our own passion. So like when I follow you, you know, like, you know, this morning, you know, I got up and I saw the lovely Instagram story of you by, you know, by your poolside. And like, I know, oh, all right, that's, you know, Donya's having her space. She's either getting up, you know, that's her kind of,
Mhm.
uh, meditative, prayerful time. I've got my coffee. I'm poolside. The sun is up. You know, walking your dog. You've got an incredible network of friends that you go out and you celebrate your family. You know,
Yeah,
you share those things, not necessarily. No, you don't share those things. Let me pat myself on the back and let you all see how great I am. It's These are my own little reminders of accountability that I am wife, I am mother, I am
100%.
I am friend, and that it's okay to live your life. I do the same thing. Here I am at the record store, or here I am with my family. Like I do those things not to promote myself, but they're almost just like little accountability reminders.
That's it. That's it. And here's the thing, at the end of the day, right, if we take the title of speaker or vice principal or whatever, tomorrow that could change.
Yes.
And so, what do I still have? What do I still value? I value tremendously my family, my friends, my calm, my peace, my workouts, my health
Yeah.
journey. All
Same.
of that will still remain. And so I love following people on social media that have a very human aspect
Same.
besides just their day or night job, because it's the whole package of the human that I'm connecting with
Hmm.
versus, like, for example, Mel Robbins or whoever it is, Brene Brown, right? Whenever they post something that is not speaking related, like moving her kid into college,
Yeah.
I'm like tied to it. Why?
Yeah.
We get an inside look at what shapes her or him,
Yes.
and of like the behind the scenes of what makes her so amazing. That's
Hmm.
what's connecting us. Not just that they have great books, great engagements, whatever, but that they're like human.
Yes. And no, I do the same. I feel the same way. Or like when I look at your stuff, some of it too is your accountability becomes my accountability. Like, okay,
Yes.
I got to get my
Yes.
ass out of bed and work out. She's been up since 4, walking the dog and doing the weights, and I got to get to my Planet Fitness. But then the other piece too that I would also say is that connection that we talk about. So there's that digital connection that we have, that digital kinship that we have. But for the folks in real life that we connect with, hey, this morning I got up and I sat by the pool and I had a cup of coffee and I started my day with just peace. I said a little prayer. How did you start your day? Yeah, man, well, how are you? Well, I'm, usually say, how are you doing? I'm doing okay. Are you okay? No, that's where those things that we do share digitally,
Yeah, dude. And you know what?
we never share in real time.
I'm thinking about a band. Like, so one reason that I'm in my Pitbull era right now, right, we have like I always have my Tom Petty. I always have Beatles. I always have Led Zeppelin, John Fogerty. Um, you know, there's my constants.
Hmm.
Okay. However, recently I was not always a Pitbull fan. What I came to love about him was I go to a concert,
Yeah, go there.
location mattered, but you know what he did in the middle of the concert that I was like, oh my gosh, I love you, Armando. That's his real name, by the way.
Nice.
Is he just talked about real stuff.
Yeah.
It was like put the dancers aside, put everyone aside, and he just engaged, and it was so non-scripted. It was just about life stuff. And
Yes.
some naysayers may be like, well, that's just a money-making
Yeah.
mechanism. That uh-uh.
Connect.
No, that was a way to just humanize him
Yes.
as a person. And for the fans, the people who may or may not even have liked him going, right? Like may have not even been connected to him. All of a sudden we're like, okay, I got some takeaways from this concert other than a time to just be with friends. I actually learned some shit.
Hmm. No,
And
I love that. No, in music, like, and there's, I'll have to send it to you. You mentioned Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin, these icons, right, of music. They are like, godlike for many people. But there's a great thing when they first started playing, and I don't think they did it, but they would play the song "How Many More Times," which I love on Led Zeppelin 1, and Robert Plant would announce the members of the band. I always love, like, when Springsteen would do that, Tom Petty,
yes,
and they would amplify the other people in the band. And again, connection. You're here you are, leader or whatever, connecting with the other folks in your band. You're amplifying their sound. But then in the same regard, the model, the lesson, the riff is, oh wow, he sees his bandmates. She goes to the grocery store too, and she's talking about that. Casey Musgraves is another one who's just very, very real on stage.
yeah,
Almost, is almost too real.
yeah,
But well, I'll have to talk about off camera what I saw. She's very real. But again, that humanity,
yes.
that sharing of that humanity, that invitation, like, oh wow, Tom Petty, may he rest in peace, puts his pants on, one leg at a time. John Fogerty, oh man, he's got his sons up there. Oh,
Yes,
that's
yes.
cool. He's a proud dad too.
And he shows, his wife, a video of his wife and
Oh my
him
God, he
still
loves
at
his
the
wife.
wedding. And
Yeah.
yes, and talks about, these lyrics of Joy of My Life were created for my wife. And
Yes.
like it is like the behind the scenes story of what brought the music to bring the music to a whole nother level of connection. And so, what is the leadership
There we go.
alignment to that? It's the human connection.
It is. And there are so many folks, and this is what I would say to leaders because I would compromise this. So much of leadership is storytelling. And it doesn't have to be the Odyssey. It doesn't have to be
Although that was a great movie.
it was a hell of a movie. That's a whole lot.
Oh,
Did you see it in IMAX?
yes.
Oh my God.
No, I didn't see it in IMAX, but my son has seen it twice. I saw it. My husband still wants to go. Incredible.
Go
Incredible.
see it with him. See it in IMAX. I used to teach the hell out of that work. But anyway, so much of storytelling, I would get to Shawnee, tell too many stories. I don't want to hear, but that's who I am. And I'm doing that not to fill up space at a meeting, but to create connection. So the leadership alignment there is it may or may not be stories. It may be sharing a part of your day. Let people know that it's okay to be human. Yes, we've got to get through the checklist of the meeting. Yes, you got to get them out on time, or the union is going to yell at you because you held them 15 minutes over, or they're going to put it on Facebook. No. If you are authentically trying to connect with folks and to make them feel like they belong and they matter, and now more than ever in this world, in this society where we are Zooming and texting and we are disconnected, you have got to nurture and build, just like a garden, those moments for others. I mean, and we give Pitbull a pass, we give Paul McCartney a pass when they tell stories, but again, that's a leadership move, I think.
It is 100% a leadership move. Sean, this has been an amazing reuniting with my brother to riff, and what awesome topics that we have just totally naturally brought to the surface that are 100% aligned with our ultimate mission with this is just authentic conversation around leadership.
Amen, sister. I've looked forward to this. I'd have to say of the 4 episodes that we've done, and it seems like we've been doing this for years. It really does, in a good way. But this is like my favorite so far. Really.
And you know what? We may just have to roll with this format.
I think so too. Let's just see what happens.
We just have to roll with this format, but the best things, you test it, try it, roll. If it works, it works.
And if you can find somebody out there, friends that are tuning in, that can color coordinate with you without sending a memo or a text, that's your ride or die. And you're my ride or die, my friend, my sister. I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you, brother. We will see you all not in 6 months or 4 months or 3 months, 1 month.
1 month. We got you. Thanks for tuning in to Real Riffs, y'all. Take care. Stay human. Stay human and stay connected.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.